Hello everybody, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So we are back in the FlyByWire A320neo. It has had some updates. And Microsoft Flight Sim has also had some updates, both in terms of the actual sim itself and third-party add-ons. And I'm gonna be honest real quick, it's been a while since I've flown the A320. Matter of fact, it's been a while since I've flown really anything. I've taken a break from Flight Sim, and I've just been playing other games. And I flew the MD-11 like a week or so ago, and that didn't go great. So I don't know how this is gonna go. It is currently Monday, May 30th, 2022. It is 2 in the morning. I'm out of school. My sleep schedule, in the 10 days I've been out, has flipped. So, for instance, I woke up at like 11 p.m. today. I went to bed at like 5 p.m. I'm thinking about going to bed earlier than that. I've been mostly like going to bed at like 11 a.m. and waking up at like 10 p.m. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I wake up in the sunset. I sleep in the sunrise. It's like I work a night shift. Um, so the A320 has gotten some updates. We're here with an Allegiant Air A320 flying from Indianapolis to Austin, Texas. You can see this beautiful Allegiant Airlines livery. Fun fact: when I was setting up the flight number in the sim, for some reason, and I don't really know why, but the Allegiant Airlines call sign is, I think, flagged as explicit, because whenever I tried to put Allegiant, it would just clear itself automatically. I don't know why. At first I thought it was because it was too big, so I put in Lufthansa because they're apparently equal letters, and Lufthansa worked fine. But Allegiant, something about it is, no. But a part of the update that you can see with the A320neo from FlyByWire is, look at that, we have wheel chocks. We actually have wheel chocks. So that's one cool thing that's new. I can't remember what else is new. Oh yeah, these cones in front of the engine and behind the APU and on the wings. Those are all new as well. It's very nice, very nice, very nice. There's also, I believe from the last time we flew this, which was a long time ago, they've also updated the MCDU. I believe they updated that. I can't remember correctly. They have also updated, the way the FMS kind of takes the flight plan. It's more accurate to a real A320. There are a couple of other things that we're going to be talking about up in the air relating to Microsoft Flight Sim. One thing that FlyByWire has redone is the flypad, the EFB. We are now on flypad OS 3, and it is beautiful. I don't really know how great it is, because last time I used this, which was a few months ago, or maybe not a few months ago, but it was a bit ago, the flypad was very buggy in terms of performance, but I believe they've fixed the performance issues and they've pushed the flypad to the stable build. I'm currently on the experimental version of the A320neo. I don't really know exactly what the difference is between the development build and the experimental build, but there are probably some changes. If you hear a buzzing sound, that's because my fan is on, so I apologize for that. But I mean, let's get into it. Let's take a look at this cockpit. I don't think they've really changed much in the cockpit. Oh yeah, I've also removed toolbar pushback because it was causing me, well, not necessarily me, but I read on Reddit that it had some memory leak issues and was causing performance issues with some people. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna just take it out. Which is okay because FlyByWire has their own thing in the EFB. Oh yeah, they also they have an EFB now on the Copilot side, so that's fun. One thing with the experimental build, but I think this was also part of the plan last time we flew, the terrain radars and the weather radars are inoperative, which is unfortunate. But it's fine because the weather is surprisingly clear in Indianapolis. More clear than I think it should be. I honestly don't know. Let me figure out. Is my live weather working or is it bugged out? How do I Search. Indianapolis. Mostly clear, 70 degrees. Okay. Okay. Yeah, never mind. There's no clouds. Okay. Now I did say it's 2 in the morning. I've accelerated time to like 6, so it's with the sunrise. Oh, why is my honeycomb alpha so hot? Interesting. Anyways, back into this. I don't really know how much they've changed. It's been a while since I've flown the A320. We'll go ahead and start going through our checklist. Let me get it out. I was really conflicted between doing a flight in the A320neo and doing a flight in the DC-6 for this video, and I decided for the A320neo because recently PMDG pushed an update for the DC-6. I believe it was May 16th or 17th, and it kind of messed up external lighting. So you remember how we had to press L to get the external lighting to work properly? Now apparently not even that works. Although some dude said that Asobo changed the controls. So I'm actually going to take a look. Lights. No, it's still L. Well, that's interior. Okay, wait, no. That's just... Okay, never mind. I don't know. But yeah, apparently the only lights that work externally are the landing lights. One PMDG member said that he's working a new version through beta, which supposedly fixes that and some altitude. I mean, not, well, technically, altitude hold issues. However, as of May 30th, that was like on the 19th or something, and as of now, 11 days later, nothing. Don't know when or if it's going to be fixed. I've had the PMDG DC-6 for over a year, and that was the first update I've ever had for it in my whole year of owning it. And there's still, all efforts are still on the 737. We'll talk about that later. But for now, you know, we got the jetway in. The parking brake is set. Engine masters 1 and 2 are off. The ignition selector is normal. The landing gear lever is down. The wipers are off. We're going to get those batteries on. And we're going to connect to external power. This will give me a good chance to take a look at the audio because you can hear all the... Okay, audio seems fine. Enough. Got our displays coming alive. And there we go. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get these up a bit. Alright, we're going to do an AP fire test, and I'm also going to plop you out. AP fire. How loud is that in that? Okay, never mind. Well, I won't find out, apparently. Alright, AP master switch. Apparently the nav lights are on. Ooh. Oh, because you switch was flipped on the honeycomb. Right. We're gonna wait for the APU door to open. There we go, and APU start. And I'll go ahead and turn you on. So that APU should be firing up. We're gonna get better brightness on the MCDUs, the MCDUs. And now let's go ahead and get the fly pad open. Okay, didn't even have to do a startup thing. Interesting. Do both of them turn on simultaneously? And yes, they do. And ugh, brightness. Thank you. Oh god, no, put that back. This also gives me a chance to just look through all this. Because I don't know what like anything is. But yeah, you can see how this looks. audio, the flight pad itself, yeah. Then about, yeah. But yeah, you can see it looks great. You've got the flight. We can import our sim brief data from right there. It gives us our IKO. We got our pin charts, maintenance, and then checklists. We can scroll down. We've got dispatch, which gives us the OFP and the overview. But I have to import my sim brief data. So yeah. We got the new ground menu, so you can see all of this. We got the wheel chocks and the safety cones in. You got the pushback menu. Gives you this nice thing. And then we have the fuel page. It's great. We got the performance. I believe they are planning on implementing a takeoff, like performance calculator, how we had on the INI A300. However, they haven't been able to get that in yet. And I think it's just because I don't think Airbus has given out any performance data relating to the A320neo in terms of that. We've got our Navigraph there. We've got our ATC for VATSIM. We are not going to be using VATSIM. We've got our failures. Let's see. We also got checklists, and then presets, and then down to the settings. But with Navigraph, real quick, let me just sync my Navigraph. Alright, yes, allow. Alright, thank you. And there we go. This is also, let me check real quick. Has this been fixed? I know the Navigraph tab had issues where you would I thought I unsynced this, but okay. Download. Has this been fixed? So like if I pull out a chart like this, and I exit out the tab and I open it back up again, it has not been fixed. Unfortunate. Apparently Navigraph said that's a Microsoft Flight Sim issue. Still, would really like it to be fixed. Anyways, I'm sure we have our APU available. Am I right? Yes, we do. APU is available. External power is going off. Flaps and spoilers are retracted. Probes are auto. APU bleed is on. X bleed is auto. Air compacts 1 and 2 are on. Temp selectors. Let's see, what's the temp now? We're set to 20 degrees. I'll keep it. Alright, add RS to nav. There we go. Should get that on bus or whatever. I don't know. There it is, on bat. Emergency lights armed. We're gonna pop open U again for the engine fire test. God, that is loud in my ear. Strobe light to auto. We're gonna set the altimeters 2995. We're gonna go ahead and get the crew oxygen supply on. We're gonna get the no smoking signs. We'll keep them on auto. We'll get the seatbelt signs on. And let's go ahead. Let's get our sim brief data. There we go. So you've got our route, we've got our cost index, our alternate, our company route, our zero fuel weight, our cruising out, our average wind component. Or I guess, no, not component, but average wind. We've got our weather. You can also give it the raw data, so you can just see the MEDAR data straight, and then you can see its interpretation of that. If we go here to dispatch, of course, we got our OFP. I don't think the overview changes. Nope. I don't really think... I think you can import... Yeah, it imports your data into Navigraph. That's pretty cool. But before I set up the MCDU, I'm going to come here, and we're gonna take this. So block fuel is 16.5 pretty much. So we're gonna go here to fuel, and we're gonna actually import. Thank you. And I believe you're set to yeah, real. All right, so 5 minutes refueling, and we're gonna get rid of the GPU there. All right, so we are refueling. We're also gonna come down here to the MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC menu, weight and balance, and passengers, OFP request, 174. We're gonna start boarding because it's set to fast. It shouldn't take too long. All right, and now we're gonna set the MCDU. So we're gonna open up view. So using diffsrip, I believe. So we're gonna check the aircraft status, make sure that you are correct. Yep, database is correct. We're gonna go to init A from KIND to KAUS from Indianapolis to Austin. Turn. We're gonna set the alternate, which is Dallas Fort Worth. So KDFW. Flight number Allegiant 1081. Cruising altitude 380. Cost index of 10. There we go. IRS, I believe, just gives us all of that. I believe we're supposed to click this, but I also don't know. But it always works fine when we don't. So, and then flight plan. All right, so Indianapolis departure, runway 23 right on the 5 departure. And we're taking that to Papa X-Ray Victor. Insert. Go, and then from there, hopping on an airway. The Juliet, I believe that's at 131. Am I correct? Yep. And we're taking that to Tango X-Ray Kilo. Go. Kilo. Go insert. Right. Direct to Windu. Windu. And then we are going to be on an arrival to runway 18 left. What is the conditions? Okay. So winds are nice. 160, 13 gusting 26. Visibility is 10. Broken at 2,200. Broken at 2,900. Sure, we'll be fine. I'm sure we'll be fine. Was it 36 left? Was it? 18 left. Oh, yep. Boarding's completed. We are gonna do an RNAV. Why not? For 18 left. And I wish you didn't cycle so much. RNAV 18 left on the Suzy 6 arrival. And our transition would be Windu, I believe. No, because
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Okay. Yeah, there's that. I don't know if that was in the last video we did, but whatever. Probably not. So to find out this, I think I need to hop over here to Navigraph, and then we gotta get our SID. Oh wait, sorry, star. Suzy 6 RNAV arrival, and for some reason it always goes to dark mode, but I don't like dark mode on our nav charts. I mean, not on Navigraph charts. I don't know why. So for 18 left, Jedye. I'm coming off of Jedye for 18 left. But then we also need the approach 18 left, RNAV Yankee, to actually see what's good for us. So, I mean, honestly, Jedye seems like Jedye, I don't know. This seems like the best. And then transition window. There we go. Insert. Clear. IRS is aligned. And that's good. So one very awesome thing is VNAV has apparently been fully simulated in the FlyByWire A320neo. And I don't really know how true that is, but I'm hoping it's pretty true. And to test this, we're going to be taking a look at our departure here, which is the 5. Would that be you, or is that easier? Okay, it's you. I mean, yeah, there's no, there doesn't seem to be really any restrictions there. Let's take a look, just to see. Oh, dear God. Okay, take a look at you in a second. For now, I'll pin you. So I'll pin you for the departure. Do we have any takeoff obstacles? For runway 28 left, I think we're taking off of. Is that right? 23 right, sorry. There doesn't seem to be any takeoff obstacles. Unless they're on here. Okay. So for runway 23 right, we have trees. Okay. So we have trees. Just trees? Is that it? Trees? Well, it's pretty hard to hit a tree. Alright? It's pretty hard to hit a tree on takeoff. Unless there's like a giant redwood tree, like straight off the end of the runway. And we're like taking off at maximum takeoff weight. We should be good. I don't think we have to worry about hitting a tree. We're also going to pin the taxi chart there. And we'll pin the arrival and the we'll pin the arrival, the approach, and the taxi chart for Austin once we're up in the air. It's gonna be like a 2.5 hour flight at 38,000. Oh yeah, I'm still setting up you. Forgot about that. But yeah, so VNAV is apparently fully working in the A320, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna be using that. But we got Navigraph set up. I remember this broke on me a few times, Navigraph, and I think that was also in our last video. Was VNAV working in our last video? When was our last video in the A320? I don't know. No, it wasn't, because we have not flown the A320 for a long time. I've flown it a couple times in my own time, but not on here, not on YouTube. Okay. So setting up you still. So we did the flight plan. Secondary flight plan, I don't think is implemented. Radio, it's fine. And then init B. So passengers are on board. We should be done fueling. So I'm gonna go ahead and do you, and then I am gonna put in our block fuel, which was 16.5. Am I right? 16.5. Yeah, pretty much 16.5. Rounding up, 16.5. And I'm using the most up-to-date SimBrief profile for the A320neo straight from FlyByWire. I actually downloaded it when I was planning this flight, so it is super up-to-date. I'm using all the settings for SimBrief that they said I should, meaning we shouldn't have to worry about anything. Fuel factor is 0%, so meaning it should be pretty accurate to the real A320 in terms of fuel consumption, meaning we should not have to worry about running out of fuel. And if we do, well, we can use this as proof for FlyByWire that something's wrong with the plane. So, okay. So, how long is the runway we're taking off of? 23 right. I think I can find that actually on here. Okay, maybe not. But Navigraph probably has something. Oh wait, yeah, if we look at the taxi chart, so 23 right, 11,000 feet. We'll do a flaps of 1 takeoff. The transitional altitude is 18,000. We are not going to be doing a flex takeoff because I don't even think that's working. We're just going to be doing a toga takeoff. So V1 is 134, VR is 135, V2 is 139, V2 plus 10 is 149. Okay, we're going to be in managed mode, so we shouldn't really have to worry about all of this. And then we get to approach, where we're going to set the transitional altitude already, and then we'll worry about everything else once we get closer to Austin. But that's the flight plan pretty much done. We're going to take a look at it on the we're gonna take a look at it on the navigation display. So we have a manual to you. Where is that even at? Okay, it's fine. And we're actually gonna set you to 40 miles as we do this, and then we're going to there, and we're going to there, and down there. Yeah, it starts bringing us south. Got some restrictions through there. And then at Jetty. And then that brings us down onto a final for RNAV 18 left. Alright. Gonna set you back to that. We're gonna set you back to the top. We're gonna put you in arc. We're also gonna get the constraints on both of you. We are in speed mode and nav mode, and our cruising altitude is 38,000 feet. We don't have any speed restrictions or altitude restrictions, I don't think. And yeah, okay, so MCDU is set. You're good. I guess I can. So you're on standby. I'm going to set a random thingy thing, random squawk code. 6255 or 6225. Sorry. I'm gonna lock that cockpit door. Oh my God! Does the gravity gear extension now work? Oh, maybe I shouldn't mess with that. Just at the oh Jesus! God, that's bright. Okay. Anyways, my God, blind now. Before we push back and do an engine startup, we're going to be doing a little briefing here. Going to pinned charts. We're going to take a look at our taxi info. So we're going to be taxiing 223 right via taxiway. I'm going to say Kilo, then left onto Romeo, right onto Bravo, left onto Bravo 1 at the hold short for 23 right. That'll be that. For the takeoff, see here. Oh, we do have a speed restriction, but that's probably the standard FAA requirement. So turbojets accelerate to 250 knots until reaching 10,000. If unable, advise ATC. So yeah, typical 250 under 10. All right. Is this chart for multiple airports? That's weird. I don't think I've ever seen that. Okay, so runway 23 rights, turbojets only DME required. So we're going to be climbing on a heading of 230 to Delta 2. Or DME 2.6 to a UZK, then assigned heading 230 or 215. Maintain 5,000. All other runways climb on assigned heading, maintain 5,000. Okay. And then expect radar vectors to join the Victor Hotel Papa Radio 195 to the Oscar Mike VOR, then by the transition or assigned route. Expect clearance to requested altitude 10 minutes after departure. So, top altitude is 5,000, but no ATC, so I'd kind of be clearing myself. So I'll go ahead and set 3,800. I mean 38,000. That's a big difference. 38,000. As you can see with that little dot, meaning we are in VNAV. We're gonna be using VNAV. I think the only times we've ever used VNAV, actually no, we've used VNAV on the 737. I take that back. I take back what I didn't even say. But we are gonna be climbing on a heading of 230. So let's get that on the panel there. So heading of 230 to 2.6 miles to IUZK, which is, can I see what that is? Can I see it's a thangy thing? I don't even, where is? IUZK. I mean, that's probably a localizer frequency. Yep. Localizer frequency. 11105. Oh, it's already set. Thank you. So kind. We're gonna get VOR 1 up, and, oh wait, sorry, no, that's for the ILS. 111.75. Or I guess, it'd be better if I went. I mean, they'll give me the same result, but... Oh, entry out of range. They won't give me the same result. But we should be getting it, yeah. So we got the VOR up, so we're going to be flying on 230 until we are 2.6 miles from that DME, from that VOR. And then we are going to go on to an assigned heading of... I'll say 215. I'll give myself 215. All right. And with that, I think I am ready for the pushback. Oh, crap. Want the taxi chart open and ready? All right. So ready for the pushback. So we are going to go here to the ground menu. We are going to get rid of the jet bridge. Passenger signs are on. Jesus, that's blinding. We're going to get the beacon light on. I think when we turn on the beacon light, it moves the chocks and the cones. Yep. So those automatically go away, which is great. We're going to go ahead and call the tug for the pushback. Oh. The new FlyPad OS3 pushback system can cause conflicts with other pushback add-ons. We recommend not to enable the system if you plan to use another pushback add-on. I'm aware of this. I've already removed that. For unrelated reasons. But anyways, we're going to call the tug. We're going to come up here. We're going to get the fuel pumps on. Go. The X speed is not required. And we'll go ahead and get you on ignition start. I've been recording for like, what, 30 minutes probably? Yeah, wow. 33 minutes, almost 34. I'll take a little drink here. I'm gonna put my mic down so I don't have a repeat of that one time where my mic was up for like an hour and a half. Alright, but the tug is connected now. Oh, that is, I alt-tapped thinking I was on something else. Okay, so the tug is connected. The ignition selector is on start. Fuel pumps are on. And the anti-skid should be disconnected. Nozzle steering disconnect. Yep. Oh yeah, you can see that they changed the font on here. It looks so nice. I really love the way this came along. And parking brake is released. So let's begin the pushback. And with that, we're gonna start up engine 2. Should see the start valve open, and you can hear the low rumbling in 2 increasing. Unfortunately, I am going to have to monitor the pushback. However, since this is an A320neo, or just an Airbus in general, I don't really have to pay attention to the startup in terms of a simulator. But at 25, we should see fuel consumption, fuel flow, sorry. There you go. And we can use this to kind of see where we are without going into the external view, which I love so much. But we can get a little faster though, I gotta admit, you know. Get a little bit of speed to that. %, into, we're gonna fire up engine 1 now. Starter valve is open, into increasing. Alright, and engine 2 is available. So that's the taxi line apparently. Little ways away. Fuel flow is good. EGT is rising and 1 is increasing. Alright. Starter is off. And engine 1 is available. So the engines are fired up. We're going to go ahead and begin our left turn. Oh, I can use these. Didn't know I could use these to control that, meaning I can also... Huh. Oh man, that's actually a really cool diagram. Alright, and we're gonna stop moving. We're gonna set the parking brake, and we're gonna say goodbye to the tug. Because we are almost perfectly aligned. Alright, so after start checklist, ignition selector, normal, APU bleed, off, spoilers, armed, auto brake, max, rudder trim, 0, pitch trim, we go to a U, 24.3, so I believe that's like 1 click up, like that, maybe, I don't know, are there any custom, ooh, I accidentally trimmed up by pressing Control 1 on my numpad. I didn't know that would do that. I think that's, because I believe 0 is 25, and I believe this increases that, and then this decreases that number. So, like, 25, I'll say, like, 24 there. I don't know. I could figure it out, but that would take too long for what it's worth. Actually, I'll try a bit like this. I mean, it's definitely worth to actually know where it is, but, like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Flaps to takeoff. So, flaps 1, APU master switch is going off, and flight controls. There we go. Full left, full right, and neutral, full down, full up, and neutral, rudder left, rudder left, rudder right, neutral. Don't acknowledge, don't say anything about that. We don't talk about Bruno, okay? Man, can't believe it. Alright, there we go. Taxi checklist, anti-ice is not required. We're gonna set the nose light to taxi, and we'll go ahead and set the runway turn lights on, even though it doesn't really matter, but that's just one less thing to do at the hold short. White lights are extinguished. Is the tug away? Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the pushback system. open up Navigraph here, and yeah. So again, oh, this is great. I don't have to have SimLink open to see where I am in correlation to the ground. Thank you. Okay. Ooh, oops, zoomed out a bit too much. Okay. Parking brake is released, and for the first time in a long time, I'm gonna taxi the A320. Let's go. Give her a little bit of gas there. A little bit of juice. Man, she really starts moving like it's nothing. And we're beginning our taxi like what, 40 minutes in? Yep. So we're going to be taxiing straight and then taking a left until we meet the runway, and then we'll be taking a right. And then we'll just essentially follow that down to the end of the runway. So very simple taxi, very simple taxi. I really hope this goes well. Last time I flew from Indiana to Texas, my sim crashed. That was flying the INI A300 though, an X-plane. I don't know why it crashed. It had no reason to. And I even looked at the crash log. Like, there was no viable reason why it should have crashed, but I mean, X-plane just does that sometimes. It doesn't necessarily have a reason to crash, it just decides today's the day, you know? My time has come. I must crash. I'm really scared about that bump. Its seam in the world. Okay, wasn't anything to worry about. I think they changed around some sounds because it was never this loud while taxiing. It's like the suspension of an old 1950s pickup truck that's been sitting in a barn for the past 70-something years. And you take it out for a spin out in the most mountainous terrain you can find just the entire time. The rust groaning and crying in pain. It's also really nice to taxi a plane that doesn't have a nose wheel like 50 million years back behind the cockpit. Okay, I'm not the worst at taxiing the MD-11. For some reason, taxiing the MD-11 and X-plane, I can do it. But taxiing the DC-10 and FSX is like the most challenging thing I've ever had to do in my whole life. Like, I try and taxi that DC-10, and like the entire time, whenever I take a turn, one of those main gears is going off into the dirt. Now, I don't really go into the external view when I'm taxiing the MD-11, but it doesn't seem like I do that. Like, I mean, X-plane definitely has the advantage of having, you know, more realistic lighting and visuals, so depth perception is a lot better. That's part of why I really suck at landing planes in FSX. There's like no depth perception in it, because everything's like, you know, it's 2006. Everything's 3D, but everything's not 3D. You know, everything, like, you know, it's 3D, and some things look 3D. But, like, looking out the cockpit windows at the runway, everything kind of looks bleh. Everything kind of looks just all there. Everything seems too 2D, I guess. Alright, we're going to set the parking brake. Alright, so at the hold point, I would turn on the weather radar, but it's inoperative. Brake temps. Get off the view. Should it take me to the wheel page or not? Okay, really wants the flight control page. We got like 25 degrees. I don't know if the brake fan works. Would be pretty cool if it did, but I don't know if it actually works. I'm gonna set the TCAS to TARA, and we're gonna turn on the transponder. The aircon packs can stay on. We're gonna get the landing lights on, nose light to takeoff, strobe light is on. We're going to do that.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
And takeoff config test. Takeoff config is normal. We can get the predictive wind shear warning on, even though I don't think it works at all. Although I don't think I've ever taken the A320 into a wind shear scenario, so all of that is good. One last thing. I guess I can now unpin you. One last thing. One last thing. Minimum takeoff fuel, 15.9. Okay, we're good. Just wanted to check my fuel. I need to start doing that. All right, let's open up our departure here. So again, 230 till 2.5 miles or 2.6 miles from the DME, and then we'll be turning left heading up to 15 before then going off to we'll be radar vectors tracking 195 from the VOR to you. So actually, since this is on the ILS, if I turned on the ILS, wouldn't I also get a localizer and a DME? Yeah, and then I could set the VOR 116.3. I could also, what I could also do is put you in VOR 2. I'll get that off. Okay. And with that, I clear myself for takeoff. Man, it's amazing what modern technology can do. We have 2 VORs. What do you want, phone? Don't care. Alright. So when we line up, we'll start the clock down there in the bottom right. Alright, we're gonna set the brakes. Go. We're gonna do our takeoff, and I believe we set 50% in 1 for a proper Airbus A320 takeoff. And then we let it climb. We release the brakes, and then we set takeoff power. Auto thrust, blue and armed. We're gonna put side stick pressure downwards. Let's see if I can take off properly. I've had issues in Microsoft Flight Sim. 80 knots. A V1, rotate, V2. Positive rate, gear up. Man, I can't see you at all. I think you say 2.6. Alright. Start bringing her down there. Flaps up. Setting climb power. Autopilot on. 2.6. Left turn. Heading 215. Okay. Climb power is set. Okay. Then keeping with you, so we follow that. We follow that. Yeah. We're gonna be joining the radio to Oscar Mike. So I can give you our 1 off now that it is complete. And I think I can also set course for you 195. That also might help with what I need to do. You know, not entirely sure. I don't really know how to fly a radial yet. Set you to 20 miles. I'm gonna slow us down here, our climb to 2,000. I'm gonna sync our barometer real quick. And while we're climbing, I'm gonna go ahead and do our after takeoff checklist. So, spoilers are disarmed, autopilot's on, thrusters are inclined, flaps are rubber, compartment 2 are on. Okay. And I can get runway turn off lights and nose light off. Is that a goal? Okay. Now we're going to make a left heading, 1905. And that'll join us in to Oscar Mike. Or at least it should. At the very least get us pretty close. And then just because, let's go ahead and get direct to cert, and that should automatically kick us into nav. Yep. And now that we are heading off towards, we were pretty close. I don't really know how to do those properly, like fully, but I get a general idea. I have a general idea of how to do them. And once we pass 10,000, I'll go ahead and I'll engage VNAV. White lights, we're good. We're good. We're climbing. We're good. Hear those engines spooling up. Go ahead and engage VNAV. Should just put us into climb mode. And, I'll go ahead and get VOR2 off. Seatbelt signs are coming off. Landing lights are coming off. And nothing on the ECAM. We're good on you. We are accelerating to 290 knots. And climbing back up. There we go, there we go. Okay. I think I engaged the autopilot a bit too early there in terms of an actual takeoff. I believe that first turn we would have done manually, but I could not see, like, if you look on those screens, they are really dark. Like, they are really dark. I could not read that DME at all. I just had a general idea of it, and this, like, even full brightness, I can't see. Like, if I get that VOR back up. It's also really small, which doesn't help with my bad eyesight. Let me put on my glasses real quick, see if that changes a single thing. If it changes anything, I might start wearing my glasses when I play Flight Sim. But if it doesn't change a single thing, then... like, of course, the obvious solution is to just zoom in, but, like... help if I could actually get them on properly, but my freaking headset is annoying like that. Man, it's been so long since I've worn these. 27 miles, it says. What about VOR2? I said VOR2. I said VOR2. 31, I think that says. It's more, we did say that. And compared to them being off to where, oh, that's out now. Compared to them being off where, yeah, I literally cannot read crap. It doesn't help a whole lot, but it helps some. So I might start wearing those when I play Flight Sim. I should probably start wearing them anyways. But anyways, we're going to take a look at the outside of the aircraft. So I don't know how the audio is going to be for that. So, you know, maybe turn down your volume or take out your headphones until you see how loud it is. Don't want to make anybody deaf. Which I might make myself deaf, but, you know, who cares about my hearing? Wow, it's actually a beautiful looking. Go away, white car. I need a screenshot. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Love it so much. Okay. Alright, and once we pass... Oh, we're actually about to pass Oscar Mike. So, real quick, just so I know I'm not going to have any issues. Oscar Mike. Estimated fuel on board is 14.3. We have 14.7. And we're passing 18,000, so we're going to go to standard. Do you... No, okay. I really... In the real Airbus, can somebody let me know? In the real Airbus, if you're in like 2994 like I am, and you sync the baro to standard, when you go back, when you pass your transition level again on the descent, so you'd switch off of standard, does it automatically sync to 2992? Or does it keep where it was at? Because that seems like a bad. That just seems like a bad. Because imagining you're taking out of a place that's like low pressure, right? So the altimeter is like 2972. And then you're climbing and you just pulled it to standard, right? And then you're descending into a place that's high pressure, and then you, of course, go out of standard. That would just shoot down. They would shoot down to 2974, but let's say the local altimeter is like 3014. Like, that's a big difference. That's a big difference. That's thousands of feet worth of altitude. Like, do pilots, do you guys, like, would you sync it to 2992 and then pull it to standard? I'm curious. Oh my god, please. Oh my, oh. Thank you. Jesus. Anyways, so we are pretty good. Pretty good in terms of all of that. Also just gonna get you guys super bright over there. Or get the eCam super bright. Because I cannot see them. Because that's on. So, let's talk Microsoft Flight Sim after I take another sip of my drink. So Microsoft Flight Sim has gotten a whole bunch of stuff recently. Whole bunch of stuff. So, JustFlight released a BAE 146, right? And that started a chain reaction. That started a chain reaction, man. JustFlight released their BAE 146, and then DC Designs released their Concorde for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then Leonardo released their McDonnell Douglas MD-80 for Microsoft Flight Sim. And then, literally days after that, PMDG released their 737 for Microsoft Flight Sim. And then, like a week after that, FenixSim released his Airbus A320ceo. This was all this month in May. All of that in 1 month. Microsoft Flight Sim went from being joked on and picked on for not having any good study level aircraft to, in just the span of a month, having, let's see, the 146, the DC Designs Concorde isn't really a study level, but it's a pretty cool plane. We're not going to count it, but the 146, the 737, the MD-80, and the A320ceo. 4 study level aircraft in the span of a month. One of which is from PMDG, the other of which is from JustFlight, 2 very big names of the flight sim community. And then you have Leonardo with his MD-80, long awaited, and then you have FenixSim with the A320ceo, which has also been long awaited. In just the span of a month, Microsoft Flight Sim got 4 pretty big study level aircraft. PMDG is currently, they're working on an EFB, I believe, and some other updates for their, it's a 737-700. So it's not, they're releasing them individually. So I believe in a few weeks, we're supposed to get the 737-800 or the 600. Yeah, so essentially it's going to be a good while. I think it's like six weeks between each release, which I don't necessarily agree with. The 737-700, I believe, costs like $75. They said the 737-800 is expected to cost around the same. The 737-600 is supposed to cost like $60. And they don't have a price on the 900 model yet. But personally, if you ask me, I would estimate it being somewhere in the $190 to $100 range. FenixSim, his A320, I believe, costs $60, which is insane. It's only $60, and it's honestly, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, might be one of, if not the best aircraft for Microsoft Flight Sim. Both in terms of systems, audio, modeling, texturing, it's beautiful. Love it. Phoenix did a great job with it. I don't own any of these aircraft. This is all my opinions based on other people's videos that they've made. So I don't own any of them. I don't know if I'm going to buy any of them, at least yet. I don't want to buy the BAE 146 because it's more designed for regional flying. And like, yeah, okay, it's a cool looking plane. Don't get me wrong, I like the 146, but I don't really fly regional too much, so I don't know if I'm gonna get that. The MD-80 is definitely appealing because I don't have a study level MD-80, and I would really like a study level MD-80, and I would like something to get me back into Microsoft Flight Sim because I've been flying X-Plane almost exclusively for airliners, so it would be really nice to have something to bring me to Microsoft Flight Sim. I don't think I'm gonna buy the PMDG 737-700. I will probably buy the 800, but probably not the 700. So if you're expecting me to fly the PMDG 737, don't expect that for a good while. I believe they're releasing like August or October or something like that, somewhere around that time. The reason why is this 800 model is much more known. It's much more known. I am more used to the 737-800. It's more known. It's more used. It's the most widely produced version of or model of the 737 to date. It's fantastic. It's a really nice aircraft. Like, you can fly it both on shorter routes and then you can fly it on, you know, cross country. So it's a very versatile aircraft. The 700, of course, each of the models have their own things, not just strictly range, but, you know, I just think I would like the 800 more than the 700. And one thing that is kind of making me question whether or not I want to buy the PMDG at all is, you know, we already have 737s for X-Plane. Now, of course, PMDG and Level Up are very different, and I believe PMDG would definitely do it better. And, of course, it's on Microsoft Flight Simulator, so visually, it is going to be better. But still, I don't really know if I want to, you know, spend $75 on an aircraft when I pretty much get almost a same replica for free. I don't know. I might change my mind. It just depends. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then the A320ceo. I don't fly Airbus a whole lot. To be fair, I haven't been flying pretty much anything but the MD-11. But the FenixSim A320 is definitely something cool, and it would definitely be better than the FlyByWire A320neo. Not trying to dish on a FlyByWire, but you gotta admit it is better. It's more higher quality, to be expected though. But you know, I don't fly Airbus that much. Really, the only Airbus that I've ever sunk a lot of time into, out of, you know, because I liked it, was the A300. I've flown that a lot in my own time. Now on YouTube, I've only done one video on it. You know, I've flown the A320 a lot. Like, I almost have 1,000 hours into Microsoft Flight Sim, and a lot of that is from the A320neo. But I really only flew the A320neo so much in Microsoft Flight Sim because that was like one of the very few airliners that I actually had. Let's see, out of jets, there are like 3 airliners that I have for Microsoft Flight Sim. The 747-800, the FlyByWire A320neo, and the Aerosoft CRJ 550 and 700. I mean, technically, the Headwind A330-900, the PMP A330-300, and A321. But PMP has long since been out. The Headwind A330-900, last I tried, did not work at all, which was odd because people said it worked fine, and then I tried it, and it's like, you know. Let me put it this way. I was trying to fly it out of Hawaii, out of Honolulu. And, you know, I'm sitting on the stand. Got the batteries on. I got the external power connected. APU's firing up. Once it's fired up and available, I look. APU generator is on. I disconnect the external power. and normally it would just automatically kick over to the APU. You know what happened? It didn't kick onto the APU. I disconnected the external power. Boom. All the electrical systems kicked off. I connected back to ground power, turned off the APU generator, turned it back on, disconnected from ground power, then it worked. And then I got the engines fired up, right? Turn off the APU generator. Figured out, crap. Got the APU gen back on, turned off the engine generators, turned them back on, turned off the APU generator, boom. Killed the electrical system again. Could not get that thing to work under its own power correctly for the life of me. And I was going to do like a 4-hour flight across, you know, the Pacific to San Francisco. I did not want to do that flight if I couldn't rely on my electricity to electricity. Didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. Yeah, me and the Headwind A330 do not... We're not friends. We are not friends. That thing has given me so many stressful situations, and I don't even know why. Because so many people say it works fine and flawlessly, and then it's like, I try it, and, like, it doesn't work at all. Like, I don't understand why me and the A330-900 have so many problems with one another. But we do. And I don't get it, and I don't like it. And then the DC Designs Concorde. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It would be cool to have. You know, it's the first Concorde for Microsoft Flight Sim. It's not truly study level. It does not use an INS. It instead uses a... it uses the FlyByWire A320. Well, not necessarily. It uses the default A320 MCDU. Which isn't necessarily bad, because the INS system is definitely much more, it's much more complex, but it's also much more simpler. Much more complex, but much more simpler. However, I did notice on a video, this dude turned on the batteries, he got it connected, he got the electrical system sorted out, and then, you know the sound of the A320's autopilot disconnecting? That's the sound it made. So it uses A320 systems. It is just, no, man. But like, it works in terms of a Concorde. You know, you can get it up to like 40 or 50,000 feet. You can get those afterburners rolling, and you can get up to Mach 2. I think I saw a dude hitting Mach 2.08. Like, it's a supersonic aircraft, all right. And like, it works. It works. Like, you buy a Concorde to go fast across oceans at like twice the speed of sound, or close to twice the speed of sound, and it does that. But it's just, I don't know. The Kalimata Concorde for X-Plane, I think, is definitely where I would go for a Concorde, simply because it's study level. The texturing also on the DC Design Concorde is not the greatest I've seen. I think they could have put a bit more time. The cockpit just looks a bit too plasticky. Now, while the Concorde was definitely a much more robust aircraft, it was very similar to an Airbus in terms of cockpit making, I guess. Not really, but also kind of. It was much more, compared to other airlines, it was a lot, other airliners, I believe it was a lot more plasticky. But, like, it literally looks like, I don't even know, man. I don't even know how to describe it other than it looks plasticky. It's just, the texturing in the cockpit is not nicht gut. Nicht gut. Not the greatest. And, another thing, though, there was an update to Microsoft Flight Sim recently, giving us a new plane that I have not tried out, and to be fair, I only remembered it, like, now, that allows you to go, it pretty much enables stratospheric flight. Like, you fly on the verge of space at like 180,000 feet or something like that. And you can fly hypersonic. So there are different things. So subsonic is kind of like where we are almost. You know, Mach 0.78, Mach 0.8, pretty much when you're near the speed of sound. Ooh.
We've just reached a cruise altitude for the flight. As it begins to settle in, I do want to remind you to please keep your seat elbows clear from the aisle as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley cart shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating with the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
That's actually kind of cool. And then you have transonic, which is kind of that in between. You know, it's that moment um when you start going like, you know, Mach 0.99, Mach 1.01, like that position where you transition into, you know, faster than it sound flight. And then you have supersonic, which is, you know, I believe it's a speed regime between Mach like 1.1 and Mach, I think it's like anything between Mach 1 and Mach 5, I believe. And then hypersonic, I believe, is like anything past Mach 5. But this plane that they added into Microsoft Flight Simulator, it allows you to fly at like 180,000 feet, which is on the verge of space. And as people on Reddit were saying, they were managing to hit speeds of Mach 10. That's 10 times the speed of sound. Like, that's insane, man. It's like we're going Mach 0.78, right? So we're going about 78% the speed of sound. Mach 1 is the speed of sound. So Mach 10 is pretty dang fast. That is pretty fast. I mean, let me find a comparison as to how fast Mach 10 is. Oh, wow. Mach 10 is 7,672 miles per hour. Or 12,348 kilometers per hour. Wait, 7,600 miles per hour. What's the... Man, what's crazy, if you were going Mach 10, you could fly from, like... If you were going Mach 10... Oh, wow. If you were going Mach 10, you could go from London, England to San Francisco, California in an hour. Almost. That's insane. So the Earth's circumference is about 25,000 miles almost, so... What was it, like 7,600? Yeah, so 7,600. So I'm gonna go 25,000 divided by 7,600. You could fly around, you could circumnavigate the globe in about 3 hours. That's faster than the Concorde can fly from London to New York by about an hour. That's crazy, dude. That's insane. What's this? Wow, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. It is stupid. This dude on the Microsoft Flight Sim forums, he's got a picture of an American Airlines DC-6 being loaded up, and he said, it's captioned, "Am I the only one that has a tendency to do all the ground ups and then not even bother flying?" And then he has another picture where it's the PMDG DC-6 with like all the stairs and stuff getting loaded up. That's cool. I really like the DC-6. Dude, why did airlines stop doing, specifically American Airlines, why did they stop using the bare metal livery that you see on older American planes? Like, if you look at the DC-6, it's a lot of bare metal. If you look at their older, it's mostly known on, like, the MD-80s and stuff, and the DC-10. Why'd they stop using that? I mean, is it because, the bare aluminum, you know, going up and down through all those altitude changes, all the pressurization changes, and the air friction. Is it because it's bad? I think I remember seeing a dude being like they should go back to it and just spend a little bit more time waxing it. Does it like does it like cause more drag, aerodynamic drag? Is that it? Why did they stop? I'm looking it up. I mean, it's probably a very simple answer, but like why did American Airlines stop using bare metal? Like, whatever it is. I don't know what it's actually called. Hmm. So it's actually because what they did, American Airlines, they just polished the fuselage, which was made of aluminum, which gave them quite a good brand recognition and saved a bit of weight because less paint. However, as composites started becoming a thing, like on the 787, where the most of it was composite, they couldn't like just keep it bare and give it a shiny look. And because, airliners started being made out of composite materials, they couldn't do that, so they just changed their livery. They had to paint it. Okay. So not the reason I thought it was. I was lied to. Well, no. I was told something, took an interpretation of that, and that interpretation was false. Got it. There, fun fact. So a couple of weeks ago, I actually did try and fly the DC-6. This dude saying, there's a comment under this Reddit post I was talking about. This dude says, where was it? Where is it? Where is it? Where was it? Where was it? Oh yeah. This dude says there have been times when after he cold starts his 247D, he'd run out of enthusiasm to fly it. I relate to that. A couple weeks ago, I was going to fly the DC-6, I think out of Tampa, I think. I can't remember rightly. I can't remember my destination or anything, but I was gonna fly the DC-6. And it took me so long to get that thing fired up because, you know, it does take a hot minute to get the DC-6 fired up from cold and dark. But I got it fired up. And by the time I got it fired up, I was just so drained of energy, man. Like, I had already been tired that day, and just sitting there on the ramp for like an hour starting that thing up just killed me. Like, when I got it started up, you know, I'm doing my taxi, and then the tiredness hit me like a freight train. I was gone, man. I paused the sim, put my hands on the like bridge of my nose, like grip the bridge of my nose. You know how like you do that, you pinch the bridge of your nose, and you close your eyes. I just did that, and then I just couldn't. Nope. I alt F4'd and I went and I took a nap. And by a nap, I mean I slept for 8 hours because I can't take naps. It's like God genetically created me solely for the purpose of not being able to take naps. I can't take naps for the life of me. If I try and take a nap, one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to wake up even more tired than I already was, or B, I'm going to sleep. Not nap. I'm going to sleep for a good long while. How far away are we? 580 miles, I think that's it. Okay. Not that bad. I guess, we're getting close on that fuel burn. I'm gonna go ahead and pin my charts here. So we are gonna be on the Susie 6 arrival, so we're gonna pin that. We're gonna get our RNAV Yankee 18 left approach. We're gonna pin that. We're gonna get our taxi thing, taxi chart. We're gonna pin that. And we shouldn't have to worry about alternates. So I'm not gonna get those yet. But I might end up pinning them. So 11.7 turbo. So we get about 300 more pounds of fuel. We're following it pretty nicely. I am concerned, though. I do have my concerns. Like, we should be fine. We should be fine in terms of fuel burn, but it's just, you know, maybe. I don't know. But, no, we should be good. Yeah, you can also see this. So you can see our like status kind of. It's pretty cool. I like this whole thing. The whole fly pad thing. I love it. I love it so much. It is fantastic. FlyByWire, you did a great job. Like, this rivals a lot. Like, I think FlyByWire has the best EFB of any plane I've ever had in the sim. Now, I haven't seen like the new planes EFBs for Microsoft Flight Sim. Oh. We're on Unicom. I mean, we're on Unicom, but okay. Anyway, okay, so how far away are we? 555 miles. I'm gonna take a small break. I'm gonna go into external cam. Enjoy. we are a little bit under 400 miles away. We also just passed a waypoint, so gotta check. 10.1 at 10.3. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and take this time to go ahead and get our top of descent. So pin charts, I need the star, which does have altitude restrictions. So we're heading towards Tango X-Ray Kilo, and Windu is after that. So not too much longer now. So our first restriction is going to be between 17,000 and flight level 230 at 288 at Solo, which is 17.8 miles after Windu. So 13,000, and we're about 20 miles between. Oh no, I mean, I'm gonna be using VNAV, so. So we're gonna be descending down to 4,000 feet. So, okay. I don't know where VNAV is gonna want to take us, but it's probably gonna want to take us to the bottom altitude of this first restriction. So 17,000. I mean, I don't know really how the Airbus, I don't know. No, top of descent. Current altitude, sync, target 17,000. Angle. Yeah, okay. -3 degrees. So 66 miles. 66 nautical miles from you. So let's see if I can remember how you do this. I believe I just plop it in here, and that gives me the distance. Not in database. You sure about that, buddy? Oh. You're sure about that, buddy. Don't worry. You're sure about it. I'm just an idiot. Not yet implemented. Oh, wait, what? No, it's implemented. Yeah, see? See? I'm not an idiot. Although, that seems a bit further. Actually, no, that makes a bit of sense. Because if I set you to 320, you can't see it. So, it doesn't make sense, actually. Although, I guess that's right. But even then, at 320 miles, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We have it. We're good. Everything is fine. Calm down. I mean, although it has our top of descent right there. If I went ahead and set you down to 4,000. Oh God, how do you do VNAV? I believe that's what I would do. Right? How far away am I from my top of descent? Oh, you don't even know. UTC is currently 1227, so it's estimating at 1300. So we still have some time between top descent and. So it'll be closer as we get to Windu. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset you back to 380. I'm sure we'll be fine. Look, I've done a VNAV descent before, but it's been a while. Okay. I don't fully know. And I'm still going to hold off on setting the approach phase on the performance menu just for a little bit. You don't know. Conditions are looking great. It's looking fantastic, actually. So we shouldn't have to worry about that. So honestly, we could do a visual, but just to roll with the RNAV that we already have. So I don't know if they've changed it. I don't know if it works fully. So RNAV, there are multiple things for an RNAV. An RNAV approach can mean many things. An RNAV approach can mean, you know, only lateral guidance towards the runway with vertical guidance kind of being on you. It can be a it can be a mix. You know, it can do both. Like it can do lateral and vertical guidance. Like it can do a lot of things a VNAV, an RNAV approach can. But I do not think a full RNAV, like with LNAV and VNAV, I do not think that type of approach is simulated yet in the A320neo. So when we land, we are going to be relying on vertical guidance for me, which won't be that difficult because again, conditions are great, meaning visual. We'll probably be running a visual. Also, this flight was a lot shorter than I anticipated. Now, we still have about maybe an hour in the air. Actually, no, probably closer to like 30, 40 minutes. I'd say, at least before a descent. Shouldn't be too much. There shouldn't be. It's the story of my life, so. I can definitely say this, though. When I land, when I touch down, I'm gonna play some Call of Duty. I've been playing COD a lot recently. A lot of Cold War. I've sunk a lot of hours into Cold War. I've been running the Tundra and the Ironhide for a good while, but then I realized that the Ironhide isn't really consistent. At least what I have set. Like I'm max level on the Ironhide, so I have like the best attachments I can get for it, but it doesn't feel too consistent with its damage, if you know what I mean. So like sometimes I can shoot somebody and it'll be a one-hit KO because it's a shotgun. But then there are other like, and it's like from 5 or 10 feet away, one shot. But then it's like point blank and it only does like 70% of damage. And its fire rate isn't the greatest. So I've started using the Tundra and the LC-10. And I did unlock the I strove to unlock the Tech 9, but it didn't actually occur to me during that oh yeah, the Tech 9 by default is a semi-automatic weapon. You have to get a pretty high level on it to make it fully auto. When you get it to fully auto, it's a pretty good gun, but until you get it to fully auto, it kind of sucks. So I have not even attempted to do that yet. I've been just running with my Tundra and my LC-10. Though the one downside to running Tundra and LC-10 is I can only have 3 perks because I can't use perk greed and lawbreaker at the same time. So ruins my setup. I've made the decision, you know, none ninja or gung ho. Gotta go with gung ho because I run with a tomahawk as well. Call of Duty's fun. If you don't play Call of Duty, you really should. It's fun. Sorry, actually, it can be fun. There have been a lot of times where I want to punch a hole through my monitor sometimes. But, for the most part, you know, for the most part, it's fun and enjoyable. Oh, dude, God. Hey, a polished metal American Airlines. They were roommates. Yeah, they were roommates. Jackson. Actually, I shouldn't really worry about it until we're a bit closer to you. 300 miles an hour. Crap. Wait. Yeah, this. Let's just get you up and ready. Ooh, do you say 9.0? Please tell me you say 9.0. Okay. I thought that said 9.8 for a second. I was about to be really concerned. We should be good on fuel. But I'm not entirely sure. And when we get, I'd say maybe 200 miles away is when we'll fill out the performance chart. Not chart, but performance data for the approach. Maybe a little bit sooner than that. We'll just see how it goes. F. Doom. Where's my comment gone or where? Please tell me where. Where'd it go? Oh God, no. Oh no, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd my comment go? There we go. Just so I don't seem like an a-hole, just add that on. Don't want to seem like an a-hole. Oh, wow, that is a lot of planes. Brand new Corsair and F6F Hellcats awaiting shipment to the Pacific Circuit 1944. Bro, that's so many planes! Man, the U.S. Army Air Corps must have really got funding back in 1944. I guess actually, no, that's the U.S. Navy, I guess. Actually, did the Navy in the 1940s? Did the U.S. Navy own planes, or is that all the U.S. Army Air Corps? Because I know after the, actually no, didn't they? Because even though the U.S. Army Air Corps turned it into the U.S. Air Force, but the U.S. Army still owns planes, along with the Navy. Pretty much every branch of the U.S. military owns planes. Uh, Depending on how much time I have left in this flight, I might just scroll through TikTok and get some laughs in. Hey, clouds for the first time ever. Far away are we from top of descent? Too far, like 19 minutes. What? How far away from? How far away from there are we? Okay. All right, TikTok, let's go. I hope that's not happening. Okay, dude. Let me recover it. I don't know if anybody could hear it, but it was Luke Combs. One of his new songs in his new album coming out. June 24th, I believe. 2022. June 10th or June 24th. One of the two. Can't wait. Well, that was sound smart, but... Oh. What's that? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and reset our MCP altitude to our lowest point in the in here. So if we take a look at here, also how many track miles left? 223. Okay, I'll set the thing in a minute. We're gonna go ahead and do our briefing. So we're gonna be coming in. We're coming in on the Susie 6 arrival into Austin, Texas. We are gonna be descending down to whatever the heck VNAV wants us to do, really. To solo at between 17,000 and flight level 230 at 280 knots, dropping down to Gabu at or above 13,000 at 250 knots, then to Susie between 10,000 and 16,000, and then to Vader at or above 8,000, and then to from there we're going to be going on to MigTech at 220 knots at or above 5,000, and then to Jetty at 210 knots at 4,000 feet, and then from there we are going to be expecting an RNAV for 18 left through Jetty actually. So it should be a pretty straightforward thing. And just to confirm. Yeah, so for landing 18 left from Vader, track 202 to MigTech, and then track 221 to Jet E, expect ILS or an RNAV, runway 18 left or right approach, or radar vectors to the final approach course. Taking a look at the RNAV Yankee 18 left approach, we're going to be coming in from Jet E at 4,000, descending down to R2 at 2,500, and then dropping down to Ditu at 1,600 feet, and then from there we are going to be on a 3-degree glide path down to the runway threshold. Because we cannot do an LNAV VNAV descent, because our nav isn't like that yet, we're gonna be doing this. So our minimum decision altitude is 900 feet. So we're gonna come here to the performance page, go to approach, and we're going to be setting 900 on the baro. And we're going to go ahead and get the weather through the printer on board, AOC menu, weather request. And we're just going to get we're just going to get everything. We're going to wait for a company message to appear, which it should any time now. I mean, it can take a little bit longer if you want. Should be getting it, you know. That would be pretty cool. I don't know if it actually worked or if it's just delayed. Send. Sending. Sent. I mean, there we go. Company message. Print. We also might get another one. Yep. Okay, I'm a time machine, apparently. I can tell time. Okay, I'll clear the bottom one. Alright, we're going to go back to the approach phase. Scoop you out, put you right there. So, for Austin, winds are 170 at 13, gusting 25. Visibility is 10 statute miles. Few clouds at 1,800, scattered at 2,500. Temperature 24. Dew point 21, altimeter 2973. Oh yeah, and the winds are 170. I still don't know what to do when you have gusts, because like if I put in 170 and then I put in 24 gusting 34 and put it in, you can see it doesn't do that. I mean, the gust means it is just gusting, but 24 is like the baseline, so I think I would put in 24 for that. But there we go, so that's set up, and, oh wait, sorry, it's 13, I was looking at this, 13 gusting 25, 170 at 13, definitely way better, but does that mean I also messed up with everything else? 10 miles, we close 1,800, 2,500, 24, 2,973, yeah, okay, that was just that, Alright, so we're good. So that is set. Go back to the flight plan page. Should be reaching our TOD soon. Oh, company message. I only asked for it twice, man. Oh, because I didn't open it. Okay. Okay. So minimum decision altitude of 900 feet. In the event of a missed approach, we're going to be climbing to 1,000 feet and then climbing on a left turn to 3,000. Direct to hook and hold. Maximum of 210 feet for the approach. And, I mean, should be good. Final approach fix is or final approach course, I should say, is 175 degrees. I mean, for the most part, yeah, it's pretty good. We are going to be doing something that I don't think we've done yet. If we go here to the landing thing, there's some things that I just didn't know, like runway slope, for instance. But we can fill the data from the OFP, meaning it does get in most of this stuff. You can also fill it in with the METAR. So yeah, of course, we're going to be landing in Austin. It's got, you know, the temperature, which should be in Celsius. We got the QNH, we got the runway elevation, which doesn't show up actually, or the runway heading. That's honestly kind of odd. I expected it to also fill in like the runway, because that just made sense, you know? But so we're landing runway 18 left. Okay, well this is why we have the chart. So 175 for the runway heading. So you need the touchdown zone elevation, which is 492 feet. QMH, you're good, you're good. Alright, we're good, we're good, we're good. Runway condition, it should be dry. Runway slope, I don't know the slope, honestly. I'll try and figure that out in a second. So the landing distance, which I do need to know, is, let me find it, let me find it, let me find it. It's been a while since I've looked at a chart. Give me a minute. I'll find it. Just give me a minute. How do I find it's the touchdown zone? I mean, where's the landing distance? Let me. Hold on. It's fine. It's fine. Give me a second. Okay. I'll figure it out. Where is it? Is there no landing distance on this chart? Am I crazy? Am I just not seeing it? I mean, I feel like the actual landing distance is rather important. I cannot find it for the life of me. Where is it? You got the transitional altitude, you got the airport elevation, you've got the decision height, you've got the final, like the point and the altitude where we need to be, you've got the final approach course, you've got you've got the, you know, different frequencies, we've got the MSA, we've got this, we've got the actual chart telling us instructions, we've got some additional information here. I cannot for the life of me find out. Okay, you know what? Fine. Taxi. Let's figure out this out. It's 18 left. We've got about 9,000 feet of available runway. It's a 9,000 foot runway. The runway slope. I don't know where you find the runway slope. I want this to be clear. Like, I have no clue. Like, would it be under you, maybe? Runway 18 left, 368. Left. Where do you find the runway slope? It's obstacles. Would it be under references, maybe? No. This is one of those things where you'd expect to have on the approach chart. I don't know where you find runway slope. Let me look it up. Where do you runway? Oh my god. Runway slope on Navi charts. Looking at my Navigraph charts, I can see the runway slope listed at the top right next to runway length and width. Dog. You're not the thing. Dog. Man, I don't know. I'm like, nah. I had to go to the freaking taxi chart to figure out the runway length, and it doesn't have slope. Like, this is one of those things that you'd expect to be on, like, airport info. Like, this is a glide path angle, definitely. Unless I doubt it's on a 3-degree slope for an airport runway. Just I doubt that. Okay, which chart should I be looking at though? In charts, approach. Like, first off, this isn't even giving me the landing distance, the actual runway length. I don't know why this chart isn't giving me the available runway length, but it's not. Unless I'm blind. Here, let me go to another chart, like this ILS chart. Like, it's still not there. See, where do I find it on here? Like, I swear, I used to know where it was. Am I descending? Top descent reached. Well, go on there, VNAV. Alright, we are in the descent now. And while we're descending, I'm gonna try and figure out this. Okay, what if I went to like a different airport? Like, alternate. What if I looked at Dallas? And I looked at like its runway approach charts.
As you may have noticed, we have begun our mission of descent down to our destination.
Say,
Now
where
would be
the
a good time to wrap up anything missing to take care of as we prepare for approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until we are passed out.
I've never had this much issue finding a freaking, like, where is it? Where is it? Okay. All right. What if I took a look at the what if I took a look at the airport info for you? Oh, you're too low res. Okay, what if I took a look at you? Like, do you give runway slope? No. Look, I don't know what my problem is, but I'm not seeing it. No, I have to do it myself because apparently Jepson charts don't have runway slope. Okay. But it says I can figure it out. It gives me the thing. So let me go here. So on one end we have 492 feet, the other end 474 feet. So we would subtract it. We would subtract the two numbers. All right. So 492 minus 474 is 18. All right. And then we take the runway length, which is 9,000. We divide the difference in elevation through the runway length. So in his example, he would do, 10 feet divided by 100 feet divided by 10,000 times 100. So we would do 18 divided by 9,000 times 100, and that gives me 0.2. So it's 0.2% slope. 0.2% slope. God. Approach speed. That's a good question. What is my approach speed? 129. 129 knots. Weight. I think that would take it from here, but you know, just in case. What is our estimated landing weight? I would probably be able to figure it out on here. What's it actually taking now? 141, 418. Well, it'd be easier to find that out if I could see my estimated landing weight. But I can't see that for some reason, which is interesting. Like, of course, we have our ground weight, but that's not a perfect... like, that's gonna change as we descend. But if I could see my... If I could see my ground weight, like my estimated landing weight, that would be pretty cool. Oh, we turning. Correct. But I can't see it. That's odd. I'll just take 140.8. Alright, flaps full. Overweight procedure, nope. Reverse thrust, yep. Auto land, no. Calculate. So, maximum manual is 4,078 feet with medium braking 5,167 feet. Low is 7,349 feet. So, that seems a little intense. With a 9,000 foot runway with a 0.2 degree slope with 140 pounds, 140.8 tons. With the temperatures, like with all of this, I feel like that's a lot of runway. Like, if I didn't use reverse thrust, I might actually overrun. Or not a single thing changes. Right, but now the auto. Apparently not only. For some reason, reverse thrust also does that. And if I use flaps configuration 3, that would also put me right on the threshold. I mean... Oh, crap. Wrong thing. Sorry. I don't want to use auto brake medium, because that seems a bit insane for a 9,000 foot runway. But also, I don't really want to risk overrunning, so auto brake medium, I guess. We'll do an auto brake medium, so that gets me, a little over the halfway point. So if we come here to the charts, I told you, we're going to start... Actually, I don't think I said this. I think this is in a video I didn't publish. So we're going to be a little bit over the halfway mark of the runway, which should be right here. So we'll be taking a right onto Kilo or Lima. Kilo or Lima upon landing. So Kilo or Lima. One of the two. Alright, so we're going to come back here to the star page. So we can take a look at our progress through here. You're a little off, though, buddy. A little off there. Okay. Descent checklist. I mean, we're good. We're good. So auto brake is medium. We're going to be doing a flaps full landing. VNAV has us descending. I didn't realize you had to push in the dial. I forgot. When you reach your selected altitude, it automatically kicks off VNAV and engages altitude hold. I didn't realize to engage VNAV. Again, I had to push that in. It's different than a Boeing, where you just have LNAV and VNAV engaged 24/7. I believe it's slowing us down into the marker there. Yep. And then it'll probably start descending us back to 13,000. I could help out here. I could definitely help out if I gave her some spoiler, some speed brake there. Definitely could help her out. I did start my descent a little bit later than I was supposed to, simply because I didn't realize I had to click that in. But I believe the Airbus can accommodate for us. Man, looking out to my right where there's not a lot of clouds, and then looking out to my left where it's cloud. Wow. I actually, believe it or not, I wanted to do this flight into New Orleans, from Indianapolis to New Orleans. However, I noticed there's like no directs to New Orleans. So. Actually, I think there were, but they were in Embraers, and I wanted to do a flight in the A320 to show off all this, show off how far it's come, and all the new features. And it's a lot more simpler. It's a lot more easier to fly than a CRJ is, and you know, has auto throttle, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. It gave me the best time to just kind of talk about Microsoft Flight Sim and what's been happening with it than a CRJ would have. I am gonna help out the VNAV here with giving her some speed brake, because oh wow, we jumped. We really started dropping, just to help her out there, because I worried that we're not gonna be able to keep it with all these restrictions if we don't give her some speed brake. Now I think these little lines here, these little magenta lines surrounding the triangle, I believe this is like the margins, the margin for error kind of thing. So like this is where it wants us to be at, but also these are the margins for it. So if we get, you know, a little past it or a little below it, you know, as long as we're in that speed regime, it's fine. I think. I don't know. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. Are there any VORs by the runway? Specifically for like the runway threshold that I could tune into? No, not really. Go back to this. Okay, so note to self, runway slope is not that difficult. Hey, maybe I'm gonna test that out with the MD-11 next time I fly it. That method, seeing if I can finally get that frickin' slope and wind thing to work properly. Anyways, going back to standard, going back to a QNH. I'm just gonna press B because we are in a low pressure. So, I am going to release or drop. I'm gonna get rid of the speed brakes. So we're passing Gaboo. We are a little bit faster, and I think that's because the plane was really trying to descend. We put out the speed brakes, and the plane just wanted to go, even though, you know, we aren't fully in this speed restriction, but hey, you know, it should be fine. As long as we're below 250 knots, passing 10,000. And we are going to be able to keep to this speed restriction. I am kind of concerned about Vader, though. I believe it wants us to be at or above 8,000. But we do need to be at 4,000. So we might be cutting it close. We're just going to have to see how we do. We are on auto brake medium. That's nice. Alright, we just have to lose 5,000 altitude in like 15 miles? 10 miles. And then from there we have to lose 3,000 feet. If we get down to 4,000, that is. If we get down to 8,000, sorry, then we have 15 miles to lose 3,000 feet, and then we have 4 miles, almost 5 miles to lose 1,000 feet. And I'm giving us a 5,000, 4,000 at the lowest, sorry, because if, you know, looking at the arrival chart, as you can see, Jet E, 4,000, and that's where we want to be. And then it's kind of from there is when we're going to kick off VNAV, I guess. Once we get down to 4,000 is when we'll kick off VNAV and we'll start descending manually down to these altitudes. The VNAV could probably do it, but I think it would just be a bit easier if I did it manually. Descending down to those altitudes manually using vertical speed and open descent rather than relying on VNAV. Like, I have to put out the speed brakes again. I'm sorry. I don't want to put out the speed brakes because the plane really speeds up when you do, apparently, because it doesn't care about the descent. But like, these speed restrictions are really cutting it close. I mean, these altitude restrictions, not speed restrictions. Did I say speed restrictions? I don't know. I'm taking this. Yeah. Oh, God, it tastes horrible. Jesus. What happened to the hour 50? Oh. Ugh. Oh, oh God. Oh, my God. That tasted horrible. Jesus. Ugh. Okay, we are below 10,000 feet now. We're going to turn on the seatbelt signs and we're going to get the landing lights on. And for simplicity's sake, we're going to go ahead and get on the nose light to take off. And, or actually, we'll put on taxi. Actually, no, we'll put on takeoff. Lights are set. Lights are set. Lights are set. Seatbelt signs are on. Good. I really wish you would slow down and descend a bit faster. Like, I'm putting out the speed brakes again. Like, it does not want to descend. And when it tries to descend, it just speeds up. I think VNAV needs a little bit of tweaking. But I also don't know. I don't know. Should also be slowing down to 220. Yeah, I'm gonna go into an open descent, and I'm going to go and manually start slowing this down to 220. So kicking off VNAV a bit earlier than I wanted to, but come on, speed brakes are fully out. Put those engines back at idle. Thank you. Actually, it's not one, is it? Yeah, I do think VNAV needs a little bit of tweaking. Where's the airport? 20 miles, 20 track miles to the airport. Don't know where it is. Should be like straight ahead. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Is that it? That could be it. Probably not. No, no. Are going to need to descend a bit faster, you know, to meet that 4,000 restriction, but it's 1,000 feet. You know, we got 30 seconds. Got 30 seconds. Come on. But it is going to speed up. I'm going to put out flaps 1. Which, I mean, makes sense anyways, because we are getting a bit closer to the airport, so... There we go, and it should level off at 4,000. In which case, I can now release the speed brakes, but I'm also going to continue to slow us down to 200. Actually, no. I'm going to keep her in I'm going to keep her in a selected speed for a little bit. But here we are at 4,000. We're going to go ahead and arm 2,500. The alt select. And auto brake is medium. I'm hoping to not need the speed brakes anymore, so speed brakes are armed. Once we pass Jet E, we will drop down to 2,500. Go. Open descent as well. They can. If it wants to. And it could descend. Ooh, man, those displays are a bit laggy, fly-by-wire. Bit laggy there on that PFD. Oh, wow. Bit laggy when you say. Oh, that was the airport. It's hard to tell. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put her in managed speed now. I'll start just slowing us down. Oh man, that's a really laggy altimeter. Jesus. And manually. Vertical speed there. I might need the spoilers. Put out the spoilers. I can't tell what my speed is. It keeps jumping. Get that probe heat on. I don't think I need to, but I don't know. I don't like the fluctuations.
2,500.
That sounds different. Why are you trying to speed up? We are not even 10 miles from the runway. Is it because I don't have flaps 2 out? I'm sorry. And then I'll put it in 1,600. Or just a continuous descent kind of thing. Why are you not slowing? Am I going to have to put out the speed brakes again? Yeah, slow down. I'm going to put the gear out now. That should help with the drag there, and I believe 185 for flaps 3. Okay, spoilers are armed. Gonna ahead and get them in their seats there. Flaps 3. Oh yeah, we do have the wind. That is a thing. Forgot about the wind. Alright, and we'll go ahead and put out flaps full. So, we're going to be hopping off the runway, hopefully, at Kilo or Lima. There we go. Alright. Let's see. Can it do a full LNAV, VNAV thing? Probably not, actually. So flaps are full, auto brake is medium, spoilers are armed, gears down and locked, 3 on the green. ECAM is full green, no blue. Landing lights are on, seatbelt signs are on. Shoulder harnesses definitely locked in. Right, and we're gonna go ahead and disconnect that autopilot. Again, a 3-degree descent, even though I should probably set it on here so I get a nice little guidance for it.
$1,000.
It's 1,000. First time landing the Airbus A320neo in a good long while, and I have a severe headwind. Well, a severe fluctuating headwind. It's gonna be interesting. Again, I have not landed a plane this small in a while. I've landed a plane like 4 times its size recently, and that did not go well. So, let's see how it goes. See how this goes. Oh, that's odd.
100 above.
Went from having clouds to like none. Went from having a slight overcast there to having nothing. Alright, can barely make out the pappy lights. They're a bit clearer now.
500.
I believe we are
400
good.
minimum. 300.
I think we're making a lot more pitch movements than we need to, but again,
200.
pull it back there. I'm flying this Airbus like a
100.
Boeing. Okay. Just gonna keep her there.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
Spoilers are out. Speed brakes are up. In the decel. 60 knots. Thrust reversers disengaged. 40 knots. Manual braking. Alright. And speed brakes can go down. So we are coming off the runway, I believe, on Kilo. Yep. Would ya look at that? I planned it perfectly. And then just to clear up the runway exit for the non-existent AI traffic, we'll take a right here as well. Need a bit of power though to keep us going. All right. So, yeah, we made a lot more pitch movements than we needed to. The Airbus is a very automated plane. Alright, so now that we're underground, we're going to go ahead and set the parking brake. We definitely made a lot more pitch movements than we needed to. So the Airbus has an auto trim, so like we did not need to make that many pitch movements. I'm not used to flying this plane. Just want to say. Alright, after landing checklist, landing lights are off. Nose light to taxi. We'll go ahead and turn off the runway turn off lights as they are not required and I don't need them for anything else from here on out. Spoilers are retracted. Flaps are coming up. Terrain on the navigation display is off. TCAS is going to standby along with the transponder. APU master is going on. We'll get the strobe light off as well. When the flap opens, we'll hit the APU start. And flap open, APU start. The weather radar is off, but we'll go ahead and kick off the PWS, the GCS, and the multi-scans. There we go. It's off. Okay landing. Okay landing. And brake temps. At 225, we'll get the brake fan on. I don't know if it actually works, but we'll get it on. Apparently the Phoenix A320 actually has not only a modeled brake fan, you can you can turn the brake fan, like you can make it to where it's an option or it's not. If it's not an option, you know there is no wheel fan on there's no brake fan on the wheels. But if you turn on the brake fan option, you can actually see, like, it fully 3D models a brake fan on the wheels. And when you turn on the brake fan, you can actually see the fan spinning. I find that super cool. Now, I don't know if the Airbus A320neo does that. Holy crap. I mean, it has it modeled. Hold up. I gotta know. How do I turn the camera? That's how I do that. That's how I do that. How do I turn my camera? Isn't it E and Q? Okay, I don't think you can see the brake van. But the fact that that's there is cool. How do I turn my camera? How do I turn my drone camera? camera, drone camera. Why is it the numpad? Why is it the numpad when it don't work? Did I lock its orientation? Yeah, it's in follow mode. It's also on track IR for some reason. God, that didn't fix it. What? I know this is kind of like, unimportant, but like... I can't turn it. Why can't I turn my freaking drone camera? That's how you roll it. I can't... Huh? Like... I can roll it. I can... Can't do that. There we go. What the f... Okay, can you actually... With brake fan spin? Unfortunate. Makes sense, though. I was surprised that the FenixSim even did that. Anyways, back to, this. Okay, so, we're gonna be taxiing to the gate. Let's see. If I take a look at parking gates and coordinates, even though I don't think this would, really matter. Okay. Oh, man. Navigraph would be so good for not having the thing. You know what? I'm gonna do something real quick. So I'm going to go not to control options. I'm going to go to general options. And I'm gonna go to accessibility, I think it is. No, it's oh my god. See how much data is being used by Flight Simulator on a monthly basis? 160 gigabytes. I'm so glad I have a phone. Oh man, that's a lot of gigabytes. That's more gigabytes than I have free on my computer. Where do I Oh wait, no, it's in assistance, isn't it? Yeah. Navigation aids. Yeah, there we go. I always get those confused, I don't know why. And then I'm gonna open up the ATC menu. Alright, I'm going to turn on. I'm gonna turn you back on. I'm gonna tune to ground real quick. 1219. And I'm gonna ask taxi to the gates.
AAY 1081 taxi to the gate.
AAY 1081 taxi to gate 6 via taxiway Alpha Juliet
Gate
Bravo
6.
Hotel Golf 1 Charlie 1.
By Alpha Juliet Bravo Hotel Golf 1 Charlie.
Taxiing to gate
So
6 via
gate
taxiway
6.
Alpha Juliet
So
Bravo
that's where
Hotel
we gotta
Golf
go.
1 Charlie 1 AAY 1081.
Okay, so airport info. So we are currently on Alpha, so we're gonna be taxiing on log Alpha onto Juliet. Oh, and then to Bravo. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna be taxiing up, making the next left, and then a right up to Hotel, and then we'll be taking a right onto Gulf 1, and then onto Charlie 1, and then to Gate 6. Would you look at that? Fancy. Look at me. Using charts to taxi my way through an airport. Let's go. With actual taxi instructions. That's one of the things. You don't know how many times before I started using Navigraph, right? And I didn't use charts. And I wanted to taxi without the taxi ribbon. It was such a pain. Even when I had charts, I didn't have the, because before I was using Navigraph, I was just using random free charts I could find online because I didn't even know Chartbox existed. So I was, I didn't know that I didn't know about, like, this parking gates thing. This would have helped me so much. So much. But we're going to be taxiing up here and taking a left onto Juliet. Sorry, taking a left here onto Juliet. Really highballing it here through the taxiway. Then we'll be taking a right onto a Bravo. Go. We're gonna give her some throttle, bit of throttle there. That landing honestly was not the worst landing I've ever had. I'm pretty sure I've even recorded my worst landing, which I think was in the MD-11 for being honest. Actually, maybe not. Actually, in terms of actual landing, like smoothness, yeah, the worst has been in the MD-11. However, in terms of worst landing, I think I have to go with the 747-800 because I didn't realize that the auto throttle was stuck on. That was so bad though, man. I didn't know. So I don't know if I've ever told the story. One time I was landing the 747-800 in Microsoft Flight Sim into San Francisco onto a right. And I touch down, right? And I bring my throttle all the way back. I kick on the reversers. Speed brakes are up. The auto brake is on. The plane ain't slowing down. In fact, it's like accelerating almost. And I get really confused. And I'm looking around like, what's happening? And then I realize the auto throttle is on. And the auto throttle is trying to get me up to like 160 something knots, which isn't good. It's not good. We're gonna be taking a right here, and then Charlie 6 will be on our left. Just where on our left? Hey, too far left. I mean, too far right. Okay, you don't want, apparently. Okay. So I believe it's here with y'all. Yeah. And so I was coming in, right? The auto throttle was trying to command me to 160 knots, and I'm on the ground doing the rollout. That's obviously not good. And so eventually, like, I've already burned through like half the runway. I get the auto throttle off. I slam those throttles to closed. I kick on the reversers. I turn off the auto brake, and I am full pedal to the metal braking. The obvious thing would have been to go around, but I didn't want to because I was stubborn. And hey, I didn't overrun. All right, I had like 1,000 feet left of the runway. Okay, I was fine. Enough. Okay. Parking checklist. Parking brake is set. Seatbelt signs are off. APU bleed is on. There we go. APU bleed is on. Engine masters 1 and 2 going off. Go. Beacon light is going off. Nose light is going off, and that should have been off already. Fuel pumps can go off. And let's call in the jet bridge, and we'll go ahead and get the baggage truck as well. Unlock that door, and when this insanely long jet bridge gets here, so long in fact that it's ripping reality, because this is still a bug somehow, and it's still not even long enough. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you may now disembark the plane. We're going to go to MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC menu, weight and balance, and then we're just going to plop a big fat 0 in the total passenger count, and boom. And that's how we deboard the plane. And the chocks should be in, so I'm going to release the parking brake. And I'll keep the brake fan on until we're below 100C on the brakes. And okay, so you guys are good. We're gonna go ahead and get the crew oxygen supply off. And we'll keep the emergency lights on. And I honestly think we're good in this regard. So we're just gonna sit here until the passengers are off. I'm trying to remember. Does the INI A300, can you open the windows, the cockpit windows in it? I know you can open up the windows on the MD-11. Can you open up the windows on the A300? I don't know. I really like it on planes where you can open up the windows. I don't know why. I never do it, but like it's such like a nice, you know, if I ever do, if I ever want to open up the windows, I have that ability. You know, when I found out you could open up the windows on the DC-6, my mind was blown. And then, you know, you could open up the windows on the MD-11, my mind was blown. And I don't know if you can do it on the A300. I'm gonna check that out once I get this aircraft shut down. Oh yeah, and the clock should be off. And I've been recording for at least an hour longer than that. Yeah, 3 hours and 2 minutes. I have a Windows update. I don't want to. And do you want to know why I don't want to update my computer? Because I literally updated it yesterday. Windows, stop giving me an update every single day, okay? There's no reason why a piece of software needs to be updated every single day. There's no reason. It's as bad as Arc giving me an update every single day. It's just like combine the updates into one big update and push it out like at the end of the week or at the end of the month. One of the two. Like, do not give me like multiple 150 megabyte updates every single day. Just give me like a gigabyte update at the end of the week, because that's so much better. That is a whole lot better than updating every single day, because Arc takes so painfully slow to update. I have a download speed of like 300 megabytes a second, but Arc, even with like a 150 megabyte update, I would be able to download that almost in a second, right? In Arc, downloading 150 megabytes updates takes like 30 minutes because it is so horribly slow. I don't know why. Like, it's probably because of my drive, to be honest. It's probably because of my hard drive, but still. We still have 5 passengers on board this plane. Get off my plane. Thank you. Alright, all the passengers have disembarked the aircraft, so we're going to go ahead and get that brake fan off. We're going to get the ADIRS off. There we go. We're going to get the air conditioning packs off. The fuel pumps are off. We're going to get the APU bleed off. Navigation and logo lights are going off. No smoking sound is going off. Emergency lights are going off. And so you're off, you're off, you're off. You guys are off, you're off. We're gonna get the flight directors, I guess, and the constraints off. All the VORs are off, I believe. They look off. Transponders off, you're off, you're off, you're there. All you guys are off. You are good. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. APU master switch is going off. Batteries 1 and 2 are also going off. And the aircraft systems will shut down within due time. But for now, that is that. We're going to kick off the flight pad. Yeah, one last thing I want to check. The APU flap is apparently on the bottom of the aircraft. Okay. The APU flap is actually simulated. Didn't know that. Pretty cool. Then you have like an outlet there. I'm assuming for pressurization. I don't really know where all the exhaust bits are on an A320neo. Where's the pressurization, you know? Oh yeah, we have hydraulic droop. Got the little static ports there on the end. Or like I don't know what they're called, or static discharge. Whatever. You can get a nice view of the chocks. The chocks are so well done. Like, insanely well done. Got the engine too. Okay. Curiosity test. Can you not? You're not gonna? Okay. Oh, there went that. The APU flap should close. Oh yeah, the APU flap on the MD-11 is also on the bottom, apparently. I learned that in my research for a recreation of it I'm attempting to do in another game. Is the APU flap gonna close? Maybe? Maybe? Okay, it's modeled, but it doesn't seem to function properly. Like, I think it should close by now. Unless it is closed and it just doesn't look like it, but that's a very horrible position for a closed APU flap. Like, that would cause a lot of, actually, yeah, that whole thing would cause drag if it's not closed. I mean, if it is closed. Because that air is just coming up underneath here and then just slamming into that. Like, that would cause drag. I don't know. I don't care. Got an exhaust vent up here. Also got exhausts there. You got the little flanges on the engine. It's pretty cool. I love it. Love it. And you got the cones. Pretty nice. You've got the crap. You've got the little inlet valves for the pressurization of the air actually, I don't know. Are you the air conditioning inlet or are you the pressurization inlet? I don't know. Actually, you're probably the AC, the pack inlet. Do you use like I know the Boeing 787, it doesn't, it uses, there's like big inlet valves on the front for like the pressurization or the air conditioning. Something. And then you have like an exhaust thing over there, yep. Mind you, I am not an A320 pilot. I don't know what half of anything I'm looking at is. Have we ever looked at the landing wheel bay of the A320? I don't think we have. That's pretty cool. What about the cargo hold? Pretty nicely modeled. What about the main gear? I think they're working on some textures. Because that's a lot of blank that I doubt's in the real plane. Oh, that's a surprise. The rear cargo bay is not modeled at all. Huh. I guess that's why it never opens. We do have this, though. I don't really know what this is. But it obviously opens. You have the rear galley. What's so shocking to me is how nicely modeled the galley is. Like, look, those are some good-looking models. But you can't ever go back here, naturally. Also, why are you so blech when you are so good? And then there, of course, there's no cabin except for these windows. The A320 from Phoenix has a fully modeled cabin. It's pretty nice. And then you have the cockpit. Is my guy wearing a hoodie? Huh. Sir, that's illegal. Sir, you can't wear just a hoodie. Where's your uniform, sir? Man, looking at these guys' models is so nice compared to what was in FSX. Like, these guys, they got fingers. My dude is literally wearing blue jeans, sneakers, and a hoodie. You know what? That's what I was wearing for a long time playing Flight Sim. Anyways, I've rambled on over nonsense for long enough. This is already a 3-hour video for a 2-hour long flight. I'm gonna check out the A300 when I'm done. When I click stop recording right there, it's looking very appetizing. See if it has the openable windows, which I kind of hope it does for no real reason, but I just do. See y'all next time. Don't know when I'll do. Might actually do a fly in the A300. Might do a fly in the 727. Might finally do the flight I was talking about in the 747-200. It just depends. We'll see. But for now, see ya in the next one. Peace.